We're at the historic Hotel Del Coronado here, and just want to welcome you all to this special episode of the Really Is podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Edwards. Alongside us today, we have Mauricio Toro, the co-founder and CEO of Smart Tech, or TECHFIT Digital Surgery. Mauricio, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for having us.
Well, we were just kind of taking a peek at your all your little jaws over there, all your 3D printed materials over there, and we said, we want our viewers to see what this company and what this man is doing. So please, by all means, share with our organization what your TECHFIT Digital Systems is up to.
Thank you very much. So we are a complete one-stop shop for custom 3D printed surgical reconstruction devices.
Okay.
And it all starts with a CT scan or an MRI. We get the imaging from the physician that's treating the patient. And once we get the imaging, you can use our augmented reality app. He can log into the app and get a 3D model that he can move around, zoom in, zoom out, and practice everything around it.
How are we looking on this, by the way? Should we get on this camera? Okay, let's keep going.
So he can zoom in, zoom out. He has a complete workflow, and he will interact with our engineers who are also using AI and other data analysis techniques to improve the case. And he can interact with any other surgeon who can participate in the process. So if it's a complex case and you have plastic surgery and neurosurgery participating in the same case, you can have the engineer, the plastic surgeon, and the neurosurgeon in the same virtual room discussing the best treatment option for that patient. Once the team agrees on what the treatment is going to be like and what is going to get done, we can then proceed to 3D print custom implants, such as this joint replacement. We 3D print the model, and then we create a customized joint replacement that's perfect for that patient and for the surgical plan that we developed.
Wow.
Data has found that surgeries are about 20 to 30% more accurate and more than 10 times more repeatable if you use 3D planning and technology. And we can also 3D print guides. So this is a guide for cutting the fibula. That is, in some cancer patients, they remove the mandible and they replace it with the fibula. And they have to miter the fibula in order to achieve the right symmetry of the face. When they do it with this guide, the results are much more symmetric and much better than if they do it by eye, which is what they used to do. And then there is a custom titanium plate that holds everything in place. And we have more than 2,000 cases in 4 continents around the world where we have proven that this technology is a better option for treatment.
Well, it sounds like it is. It's interesting, though. How'd you come across something like this and figure out that you could use 3D printing to print another jaw?
That is a very curious story, actually, because my background is not in healthcare. My family has a healthcare background. My grandfather was an internist. My uncle is a neurologist. So I have a healthcare background, but what I loved was race cars. So I am a mechanical engineer and I have a master's in motorsport engineering. I used to work in Formula 3 cars in the UK. And for the wind tunnel tests, there were 2 things we had. We had computer tools for simulating the results of the wind tunnel test before we actually went to the wind tunnel. And we had a lot of 3D printing to create prototypes that could be tested on the wind tunnel. And that is something that due to a family friend and that family tradition still pulled me to the healthcare world. When I started looking at these reconstructive surgeries, I realized that they are not simulating them in any software. They don't have any analysis tools to predict the results, and they're using standard solutions that are bent in the OR by the surgeon as best as they can, and surgeons do a great job at it, but technology has evolved past that. So that's when we started going into the whole digital surgery field. We ran into a doctor that needed one case. We helped him with that case, and it's all just snowballed from there.
So you've got a couple 3D printed models, and taken off is the top part of the skull. Some skulls, some jaws, and a tibia there. Are these the most common models that you print out?
Yeah, right now I would say about 95% of our cases are craniomaxillofacial. And this is just because perfect results in the face are much more important than perfect results in the rest of the body. But we are now starting to work with orthopedics to create better reconstructive surgery and reduce complications further along. A misalignment in the hip or the knee is not something that is going to cause discomfort in the patient 1 year out, 2 years out, but 10 years out it will end up in a joint replacement. So we are working with orthopedics on that, and also thoracic surgery.
Interesting. So are you saying like these 3D printed models, can they replace a bone? Are they? Is that what it is here, or explain
Well,
this to me? Is it like a implant or?
We create implants that sometimes replace joints, but like for instance, this is a temporomandibular joint replacement. So this patient had something that affected his joint, and we created a 3D joint, 3D printed joint that acts just like a knee replacement or a hip replacement on a patient, but this one is 100% customized. And we can create things to replace joints and to replace bones, but most of our work is actually in planning the surgery, creating the right instruments, and then creating specific titanium implants to ensure that the results are accurate and repeatable.
Incredible. Well, Mauricio, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Share with our guests and myself about your interesting products you got in front of us. It's really cool to see the augmented reality aspect behind that too, and how your career kind of transpired from point A to point B. Appreciate your time here on the Realist Podcast. For Mauricio Toro, I'm Kevin Edwards, asking you all to keep it real.